Okay, so another example of the level 2, and remember these are all examples going from our level 2 in Delta and then the mixed review in Delta from that assignment day 66. So in circle V, VW equals 2. So VW equals 2, so that's a radius. And the length of, so the word length means you know that you have sector area. So sector area equals theta 2 pi r divided by 360. The more you write it, the easier you're going to realize you've memorized it without actually memorizing it or having to study. So Wx is 2 over 9 pi. And so that is the length because that notation is arc. So the arc length, because there's length in front of it, is 2 over 9 pi. Find the angle WVX. So we're looking for theta. That's going to be our unknown. So again, I just did area. Sorry. Arc length. So that should be AL. Arc length equals theta 2 pi r over 360. I just used the wrong letters. So arc length is going to be 2 over 9 pi because it says length of arc. It's 2 over 9 pi. And then we don't know our theta, so that's going to be our x value. 2 and pi will always be there, and the 360 will always be there. And our radius in this case is 2. And it is length, so we're not squaring it. So we're going to get rid of that 360 off the bottom, get it out of the denominator. So instead of the opposite of divide is going to be multiply. We're going to multiply this. So 360 times 2, like running straight across the top of that fraction. So 720 divided by 9. We'll go ahead and divide that by 9, and then we're going to add our pi back. So it's going to be 80 pi equals, and we have 2 times 2, which is 4. So 4 pi x over, those are gone. Done. 4 pi x. So you are trying to get your x or the theta by itself. So it's 4 times pi times x. So the inverse of multiplication is division. And we're going to divide by 4 pi. And our x, in this case, the measure of the angle is going to give me, because pi's are going to go away, 4's are going to go away, and then 80 divided by 4 is going to be 20. So it's going to be 20 degrees for XVW or DVX. So that guy is going to be 20 degrees. All right, so that's going to be, I think, more like the level 2. Now, when you get to your mixed problems, there are multi-step properties here. So in circle W, still the same thing. We're thinking about our formulas. What do we have? What do we need? We always need theta, and we always need radius. You have to have an angle measure, and you have to have a radius to solve for anything. So in this case, we have XWY equals 50 degrees. So XWY is 50 degrees. So we have theta. And the area of the shaded sector, so the area, so that means we know we have sector area equals theta pi r squared, because pi r squared is area, divided by 360. As soon as you see area, I would write that down. That sector area is 5/4 over pi, and that goes in the place of SA, or sector area, as your output. We do have our theta, so that's going to be 50. Pi is its own number. It'll happen in every equation. It can't be what's missing. The 360 again happens in every equation. Can't be what's missing. And then our r is missing, r squared. So again, 360 is in the basement. So we're going to multiply by 360 on both sides. So 360 times 5 divided by 4. That's going to give us 450. That was 1800 divided by 4. So 450 pi equals, I have 50 times pi r squared. So 50 pi r squared. You're trying to get r squared by itself, and that's 50 times pi times r squared. So the inverse of multiplication again is divide. So we're going to divide by 50 and pi all in one step if you're good to go, because you can save yourself a line in writing. Pi and pi go away. Pi and pi. 50, 50. 450 divided by 50 is going to be 9. So 9 equals radius squared. You need the radius, so we're not done yet. To undo squaring something, you're going to square root. So r equals 3. And it is a plus minus 3, but we need a length, so we're going to use the positive 3. So our r is now 3. Now I'm going to repass it. Find the length of xy. So this was area. Now it wants the length of xy. Express your answer in fraction times pi. So in terms of pi. So again, we're going to do arc length equals theta times 2 pi r divided by 360. All right, so our arc length we don't know. We do have our theta, which is 50 degrees, which they gave us in the very beginning. 2 and pi happen every time, along with that 360. And we found our radius, the 3, and it is the portion of circumference, so it's not radius squared, it's just radius. And we're going to do 50 times 2 times 3. So 100 times 3 is going to give you 300 over 360 pi. 300 over 360, you have to reduce that fraction. Again, we're not using the pi button because they want it in fraction form with the pi. And so our answer is going to be 5 over 6 pi. So the arc length, or in this case, xy, is going to be 5 over 6 pi. And that's the answer to the question it asked. There is a lot of work to get here. You had to use both formulas. All right, still going. So O, circle O. POQ is 144 degrees, 144 degrees. So we definitely have a theta because remember, we're always looking for theta and we're looking for our radius. So our theta is 144. And the area, as soon as I see that, sector area equals theta pi r squared over 360. So sector area is 8 over 5 pi. So that means they already did all the math, and we got 8 over 5 pi as our output. Equals, we do have our theta of 144. Pi is a given, and our 360. And then r squared is what we're missing. So we're solving for our radius. So we're missing our radius. And then we'll get to the next portion of the question. But right now you have to have theta and you have to have radius. At this point, all we have is theta, but we have the output. 360 is down in the denominator, so we're going to multiply by 360 because it's the inverse of division. So 8 times 360 is 2,880. Then we're going to divide that by 5. And that's going to be 576 pi equals 144 pi radius squared. We're looking to get radius by itself. So we definitely want the radius by itself. So we're going to divide by pi because it's attached by multiplication. Divide by pi. We're still going to have that 144, so we're going to divide by it as well. And at that rate, then our pi's go away. 144 divided by 144 is 1. Pi's go away. 576 divided by 144 is 4. 4 equals radius squared. The inverse of squaring something is taking the square root. So our radius is 2. Now we haven't answered the question. We didn't even get into the conversation of the question because we already knew we were missing our radius and we knew we were going to need it. So find the length. So now we're looking for the length of PQ. So that's this guy. And the reason you know it's in this direction is because it's less than 180. And it's only, and you know that because it's only 2 letters. If it was 3 letters, there would be another dot out here, like we can call it K. And they would go PKQ if they want to go this way. All right, so now we need to find the length. So arc length equals theta 2 pi r over 360. We're looking for arc length. So we can call it AL. You can put your X out here if you want to as well. We have our theta, or our degree measure, of 144. Pi and 360 happen every time. And then our radius, not squared because we're doing a portion of the circumference, is 2. So we have 144 times 2, which is 288 over 360 pi. And again, it says express your answer as a fraction times pi. So that's leaving this answer in terms of pi. So 288 divided by 360. Again, if you plug that into your Desmos, the fraction itself, 288 over over 360. Don't push the pi button. You'll see to the left-hand side, again, there's a circle. Click it, and it will simplify it for you. and it should be 4/5 pi. So the arc length, or the length of PQ, is equal to 4/5 pi. All right, so I did these a little out of order in our last video, so there's going to be some work above here, but we're going to jump on and keep doing what we're doing. So in circle Q, QR is 6, so we know that's a radius because that's a length area. The area, stop here, so sector area equals theta pi r squared over 360. The shaded area is 9/2 pi, so 9/2 pi is the sector area. We know we need theta, and we know we need a radius. In this case, we have the radius as 6. We're missing theta. We need to be able to answer that question, period, and then you can start answering everything after that. So we have to solve for theta. So we know what our pi is over 360. Our radius is 6. And it is area, so that's 6 squared. And then we know theta is our unknown, so we could put our x there. Or you could leave the theta symbol, and that's fine, and work that all the way through as well. 360 is down in the basement, so to get it out of the denominator, again, we're going to multiply by 360. 9 times 360, then divide by 2 is 1620 pi equals 6 squared is good, and these guys went away. 6 squared is 36, so it's going to be x times pi times 36. We need x by itself, so we're going to divide by pi to get rid of it here. And we're also going to divide by 36 because we want that to go away as well. And then from here, the 36's cancel out, our pi's cancel out, pi cancels out, and now we have x equals 1620 over 36. We'll check it, and that's going to give me 45. So our theta is 45, or our degree measure is 45 degrees. Now we're going to keep going. Don't jump off into the deep end of swimming yet, because we haven't answered the question it asked. It says find the length of RTS. That is 3 letters. That means we are going from R to T all the way around to S. So we had the sector area of the small piece, but we want to know the length of the big piece. So arc length is theta 2 pi r over 360. Now we are going to use this side. So if I know this is 45, a full circle is 360. So if we use 45, so this is 360 minus 45. And that's that other side, which is going to be 315. So this measure is 315. And we need the measure of the angle that we are solving for. So we're going to use 315 for our theta. We have 2. We have pi. Put in parentheses if you want. We have our radius, which was 6. Divide by 360. So 315 times 2. And then times that by 6. We get 3,780 over 360 pi. And it says leave again in fraction terms of pi. On some of the other ones that were assigned in Delta, you use the pi button, not 3.14, pi button. And so we're going to reduce this fraction. So we're going to type that into Desmos or your calculator. I would really recommend you practicing with Desmos to get comfortable. And then we're going to end up with 21 over 2 pi as the arc length of RTS. So again, if it has 3 letters, it's going to be bigger than 180. So our arc length, or the answer to this question with a lot of other math, is 21 over 2 pi. One more problem. Here we go. Circle P. The length of QR, it's only 2 letters, so that's this way. The length of QR is 11 over 9 pi. So we got arc length. So arc length equals theta 2 pi r over 360. We know that arc length is going to be 11 over 9 pi. We need to know the theta. So QPR is 110. So QPR is 110 degrees. And you know it goes on this side because that's less than 180. And this shaded area is a lot more than 180. So theta is going to be 110 degrees. We know we have 2. We know we have pi. We know we're going to have 360. What we don't have is our radius. So we need a radius because remember, you always need theta and you always need a radius to be able to do any of these discussions. We're trying to get 360 out of the basement or out of the denominator again. So the inverse of division is multiplication. So 360 times 11 is 3,960. And then we're going to divide that by 9. So 3,960 divided by 9. And we end up with 440. And don't forget, we haven't used our pi button, so we're going to leave it in terms of pi. 110 times 2 is going to give me 220. These went away. So 220 pi r. We're solving for r. So that's 220 times pi times r. And times is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 220 pi. Divide by 220 pi. Again, your pi's and your 220s cross out on this side because they give you 1 times r, which is going to leave you with r because that one's imaginary. Pi's go away, and 440 divided by 220 is going to be 2. Now, again, we're not done. We found the radius. We have a little bit more math to do. And then it's going to say find the area. So sector area is theta pi r squared divided by 360. So as soon as I see that, I write this. Now I keep reading. The shaded below. Find the area of the shaded below. Now that 110 was not the shaded area. This is our shaded area. So we're going to take 360 and subtract 110. And we end up with 250. So the area or theta of the area we're finding, the section we are finding the area of is going to be 250. So the sector area, and our theta is 250 in this case because we're doing the other side. We have our pi, and again, we have our 360, and our radius is going to be 2 because we just solved for that. And remember, it's 2 squared because this is sector area, and we're looking for a portion of the area. It does say, again, to leave it as a fraction. So we're going to do 250 times 4 because 2 squared is 4. So 250 times 4. It's going to be 1,000. So we have 1,000 over 360 pi. Awesome. Type that in, and then we're going to simplify that fraction because it's easy to get that decimal, but that's not the way they want the answer. And our fraction is going to be 25 over 9 pi, and that is for our sector area or our shaded region, and we're going to just have to call it the shaded region because there's not 3 letters. They would, like I said, need to be RKQ, and that could be whatever letter, but it has to be 3 letters to be able to name this arc appropriately. So just at this point, our surface area is 25 over 9 pi units. All right, guys, good luck. I believe you've got it. It is a lot of math. Hang in there. You will do great.